Hi everyone, welcome to this part 2 of how to be a modern samurai basically, or how can we use real historical samurai teachings for today. And of course we're in this book, How to be a Modern Samurai by Antony Cummins, 10 steps to finding your power and achieving success. So let's crack on with step 2. Now the most important section of this step is to pick which samurai you are in samurai. So what I want you to do is answer this question as honestly as you can. So which of the following are you? So type 1, the true alpha, second to none. Type 2, the loyalist, hardcore supporter to the end. Type 3, the opportunist, you'll jump ship. Type 4, the stalwart, the middle management, somebody who just stays there, not really wanting to go up, not going down, but just stays around the middle. Type 5, the professional, the trooper on the ground, someone at the front doing the work, doing the dirty work, doing the hard stuff. Type 6, the freelancer, that's a leader of mercenaries, a little bit like type 1 and alpha, but it's the case of you're on a much smaller scale. Type 7, the lone wolf, the solitary inspiration, someone who's good in their own field, an expert, and pretty much stays to themselves, but are well known for being experts. Type 8, the true artist, the local master of an art. So basically you've got your art down to a profound level. So the difference between type 7 and type 8 is that the lone wolf tends to stay by themselves doing their own things, Miyamoto Musashi-esque style. But whereas the true artist is someone who is basically like the head of a dojo, a tea ceremony master, someone really local but loves their ability. Number 9 is the inheritor, the offspring of fame, which means basically you've got really famous parents and you're following in their footsteps. It doesn't make you good or bad at what you do, it just means you're set up already to do something. So which of those 9 would you say you are? Okay, planning ahead. Basically, you've got to plan ahead. This is get up early, plan ahead. So the idea is the night before, have you set up for the next day? Every day at the end of my day, I set up ready for the next day. Even down to some food is chopped ready when I need to eat. So I can wake up, get my cup of tea, do whatever I do in the morning, and then get going on to work. Set up the next thing, books are here in a pile, ready to use, all sorted. Do you get set up, or do you just sort of like try and struggle to find things afterwards? Making a difference between goal achieving days and finance days. Now for samurai, this was a little bit different. Samurai just got paid. So they were just paid and they did what they did. But unfortunately in the world today, we don't just get paid for nothing, for just being alive. So, well, some of us don't, do you know what I mean? So basically you've got to isolate the days which you need to work. So you say, okay, I've engineered my life so I can work 3.5 days a week. And for the other 2 days a week, I can, before like relaxation time, I can put all and all into my art, what I'm doing, what I'm going to do, what I'm going to show to the world. For me, luckily, I started from nothing, but have built it up to the point where I can now live alone and do my stuff. And I've combined the two in an apex to come together because I followed these ways. And now my love is my life. Learn to celebrate festival days. Don't just have week in, week out, Monday to Friday, off you go, do it. Understand, in your religion, no matter what it is, what are your festival days? So you say, on this day, I hold this festival. And on that day, you're not doing any work. You're not doing anything. You've said, even if it's a Wednesday in the middle of a week, you're like, today is this festival day. I'm going to sit down and enjoy this festival. Some days you can enjoy festival and work as well. For example, the big one for us is Christmas. Everybody, as much as they can, stops work for Christmas. A couple of days before, a couple of days after, at least, unless they're in emergency services or they're needed, people stop work for Christmas. But there are other festivals in the year, so make sure you do enough work at certain times so that when the festival days come, it's okay to have 2 or 3 days off from your goal work. Of course, if you're working a salary, that's not always available, but even if you are working in a salary environment and you're dictated to on the times you can and can't work, remember your festivals, remember your traditional roots, remember your own culture. It doesn't matter where you're from in the world. If you're following this way, remember your own traditional roots. Or you can have a look at the Japanese ones. But again, this book's about living your life according to these principles, not recreating just being Japanese. That's not what it's about. It's about taking those principles and living like that. Measure the importance of your family. So family, past and present are important. So in samurai times, they had a clan. Now, it doesn't mean you have to get on with your family. It doesn't mean you have to sit there all the time with your family. But do understand, so do your ancestry, know your where you're from, maybe take a DNA test. I've took multiple DNA tests. I can recite my family tree back 10 places. I have lots of information through my father on the family, and I've researched the general history of those areas. So I have an excellent knowledge of where my DNA is from, where my culture is from, you know, and even back to now I've started researching Indo-European to understand where the Indo-Europeans came from, both going to India and going to Europe, and who were the Indo-Europeans. So basically, make sure you are researching your own culture and your own family. Understand the arts. So basically, have an idea about all the arts. These can be Japanese arts or they can be your own culture. It doesn't really matter, as long as you take some time to study the arts. For example, calligraphy. Have a go at calligraphy. Have a go at Japanese calligraphy. Have a go at some Chinese stuff with some Chinese, you know, obviously very similar, but you do get a different language in Japanese, a different language in Chinese. Try both. Try Western calligraphy. Most people in the West overlook their own calligraphy, which is gorgeous. You should absolutely get involved with that. Have a look at theatre. Go to the theatre. Read Shakespeare. Read what's it called, Marlowe, and all of those others, and read a bit of Chaucer. Get involved in the arts of your own culture, no matter what they are. Again, you can do this through Japanese arts if you feel that you want to go down that route, or you can do your own. I recently purchased a book on Macbeth because I haven't really dug into Macbeth, and I got some of the Canterbury Tales because I've never really paid much attention to the Canterbury Tales. I've also bought a Japanese brush and some Japanese brush pens, and I study some calligraphy and do that. So basically, fill your day. Not fill your day, sorry, that's wrong. Find times to engage with the arts, such as theatre, etc. And host things like poetry parties. I know that sounds strange from a Western point of view, but actually it's really good fun in the sense what you do is you can, so one trick, it's all in the book. If you need the information, it's in the book. But one of the main tricks is you get multiple people at a table and you have a 3-part poem where somebody writes the first line, you pass to the left, the next person writes the next line, pass to the left, then the next person writes the next line, then you pass it on again, open it up and read it out, and hopefully the story should take 3 different twists and slants, and as a deeper meaning you should then be adding plays on words. I'm pining for pine trees, you know, that type of thing. You use different ways which can imply certain things. So for example, in Western culture, holly and the ivy is holly flower, holly plant and ivy plant, but it actually means men and women, and it actually means sex. But also holly and ivy, holly is kept indoors at Christmas and ivy is kept outdoors because it represents the dead. So you've got all these things about Western culture as well that you can start to play on words inside. So get yourself and host a poetry party. Have a go at artwork and flower arrangement, things like that. Now, of course, people are like, what, flower arrangement and all that? Actually, people say, oh, it's not very manly and all that. But first of all, in British culture alone, gardening is normally done by the men. Men normally out there, old men are renowned for their gardening, and old women as well, but genuinely it's like a pensioners thing. It's not male or female, but you do get a lot of men looking after this. My friend Ben, who's a policeman, he's got riot training, he's cracking people on skulls. At the weekend, he's growing his sunflowers, he's having a go at his morning glories, and he's got all this. And his wife, they've got literally a line down the garden fence, and she does plants. She's like, if I can't eat it, what's the point of it? So the woman is like, I'm not dealing with flowers, I want some food. You know what I mean? She's like, I'm growing strawberries, raspberries, apples, lettuce, and she's got all that going. And on the left side of the garden, when you stand from their open back doors, is all of his flowers, because he's like, I just want to deal with flowers. I'll buy the food if I need to buy it. So you see, you've got this idea that pay attention to wildlife, flowers. Now, even in Natoryu, they have the ceremonial pre-battle flower arrangements that go out. And what I'm trying to say to you guys is that flowers, flower arrangement, and artistic things are not a feminine thing in either the West or in Japan. So you can get involved with these things. I personally grow food. Up there is mint. I grow food. The only flowers I have are, or I'm planting next year, are lavender, so we can make lavender bags to make the house smell a bit nicer, so you don't have to keep buying chemicals everywhere. And I will use some flowers to attract bees. Some some flowers, not sunflowers, some flowers to attract bees to keep the pollination going. So there. So let me quickly go through those just to round you up. Right, as a roundup, consider which of the 9 types of samurai you are. Cultivate a samurai lifestyle through sharpening your focus, planning your actions, and attending to details. Dedicate a balanced amount of time to the pursuit of interests and dealing with your daily obligations. Celebrate festival days and strengthen family bonds. Honour your family by spending time with them, but overall understanding your history and your past within your family and your culture. Develop the appropriate understanding of the arts, such as we said before, theatre. Host such things as poetry evenings or, flower arrangement evenings. Create original artwork and try your hand at ikebana flower arrangement. Now that is step 2, which is leading a samurai lifestyle. Of course, that includes, we do go later on in the book, I do go later on into training. So you've got to basically, martial arts training, all that sort of stuff, and defending your home. We'll get into that in a bit. But what we're talking about here in step 2 is looking at the structure of your life and being like, okay, I need to have this many days for festivals. I need this much time off to relax and rebuild my chi. I need to make sure I'm working this amount of time. If I've got a goal I need to do, I need to be doing it for this amount of time. I've got to set up, prepare myself and be ready to go. And then, of course, engage with the arts and things that are a little bit more superficial than just combat. So it's... the artistic side of the samurai shouldn't be the majority, but it should still be there. Right, guys, I hope you enjoyed that. Please do leave your comments, tell me what you think, and follow along with this How to Be a Modern Samurai by Antony Cummins, and we'll get you there to the end, to step 10.